Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Kenny here. I want to talk about a topic that is on a lot of people's mind, and this is rent to rent still worth it in 2024? Stick around, I'll share why I believe this is still one of the most lucrative businesses that you can start, and why I believe it's still a game changer and how it worked for me. First off, let's clear what exactly is rent to rent. In simple terms, it's where you rent a property from a landlord, either direct to the landlord or through an estate agent, and you sublet it legally through a company let management contract to tenants or guests. It's about leveraging what you have and the service you can provide without the huge upfront costs of actually buying your own property. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would somebody let you manage a property that isn't yours? Well, just estate agents are exactly the same. They're a middleman. So essentially you become a property and tenant manager. But the beauty of rent to rent is you don't own the property. That is what's key, is you manage it and you provide a service to the landlord. When I first heard about rent to rent, I was pretty skeptical. Here I was in a job. I was pretty content with the job I had. I was willing to stay in this job for actually the rest of my working life, which looking back on that kind of mindset is pretty sad, but I was content. I was very happy. Prior to that job, I was in the office dealing with all the office politics, and it was actually that job in itself pissed me off so much I decided to change my whole path and change of direction, go back to the shop floor where I was happier. It wasn't all about chasing money back then, I just wasn't happy. But when I first come across rent to rent, I spent about 2 weeks solid research, doing all the due diligence under the sun with a skeptical mindset, like, is this all a scam? Is it too good to be true? Trust me, I know what you guys are thinking. But when I did eventually start, I dove in head first, learning absolutely everything I could. There were a lot of late nights, a lot of coffee, and a fair amount of doubt. But one thing I stay true to myself is I was absolutely relentless. I was just trusting the process. Forget my mindset, forget my no experience in property whatsoever, which was, trying to impact my mindset. It was like, let's just trust the process and be relentless and be the most successful student in rent to rent ever. I was driven by the thought, we were looking at having kids, but I was driven by the thought of my soon-to-be child, and when they grow up, I never wanted them to say, Daddy's at work. And to be at work whilst they're at home and not be around as really they're growing up, because I used to work shift. Fast forward 90 days, I secured my first deal. Trust me, it was absolutely nerve-wracking, because actually 10 minutes after securing that deal, 2 more emails come through accepting my offers as well. So I actually secured 3 HMOs in the space of 20 minutes. So it was very nerve-wracking. It was the start of a whole new chapter for me. So today I'm not just running a successful rent-to-rent business, I'm helping others do the same. Rise Up Rent to Rent is now the leading rent-to-rent training provider in the UK. I don't see any other training provider showcase as much results and consistently, day in, day out, week in, week out, how much success our mentees get. I don't see that from any other training provider. So from my point of view, I've been from the very start, zero experience, all the way to growing a successful rent-to-rent business, and now I'm helping others do the same. I know exactly what they need to become financially free. So, is rent-to-rent still worth it in 2024? From my own experience, absolutely. There are opportunities everywhere. Just this week alone, and we are 9th of August 2024. Just this week alone, I've had 2 landlords message me privately wondering if I would take on their properties on a rent-to-rent basis and also as a profit share as well. So there are opportunities everywhere. But let's not sugarcoat that. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes hard work, discipline, and the ability to keep moving forward even when things do get tough. The market is full of opportunities. There are far more properties than there are rent-to-rent companies, which means you as a brand new business, there's plenty of room for you to leave your mark. It's all about finding the right deals, building relationships with landlords and agents. A lot of people think rent to rent is actually some kind of shady operation. Let me just clear that up right now. This is a perfectly legal business. You use a company let agreement. This means that the landlord has given you permission as a business to use their property as your business, and whether that means like letting out to tenants or renting out night by night to guests, you're legally allowed to sublet, and you're allowed to use that property for your business. So subletting to either tenants if you're going down the HMO route, or night by night guests if you're going down the service accommodation route. You're legally allowed to do it because it's a company let agreement. And then there's the myth. Is it too late for you guys? Is the market saturated? Trust me, I have worked recently with landlords that have never even come across the word rent to rent or company let. They've never heard of it. And this landlord had many, many properties and has never been approached by a company let. What it comes down to is educating the landlord on the benefits that this business venture actually provides, and then showing them that this is a win-win situation. If you're on the fence about whether to start a rent to rent business or not, here's what I want you guys to remember. If you are consistent enough and you are disciplined enough, success is inevitable. It really is. I quite often say to myself, like, on days where I really can't be bothered or my motivation is like rock bottom, I just go into robot mode and I do the work anyway. Such as going to the gym. Even though I love going to the gym, I don't love it every single day. I do the work anyway. I get in my car and I drive to the gym, even if my body is like, I cannot be bothered. Do it anyway. It's the same with building any business, a rent-to-rent business, calling estate agents, sending messages to landlords on the different platforms. You got to do the work consistently. Being consistent beats talent every day, especially if talent doesn't work hard. Consistency is honestly the key to everything. If you're not that good, but you're consistent, you will beat talent every time, especially if talent isn't consistent. So just say to yourself, have you got a strong enough reason why you want to start rent to rent and you're ready to put the work in? Then rent to rent is definitely a good option for you. Another thing I'd like to say to you guys is think about where you're going to be in 5 years time. Do you want to be stuck in that same job, or are you ready to take control of your life and create something that you actually want? If you're leaning towards the latter, then definitely consider rent to rent. It has drastically changed my life and it is drastically changing my students' lives as well. Hey guys, listen, honestly, if this video resonated with you, then please hit that like button. I'm really trying to push this channel out. I'd also love to hear from you, so drop a comment below. If you're ready to take the next step, then it's just a free training. It's 12 minutes. It'll be in the description. Click that. That's 12 minutes of free rent-to-rent training just for you guys. So guys, remember, hard work beats talent every time, especially if talent doesn't work hard enough. So stay relentless. It's the only way to become successful. Take care. See you on the next one.